guys, welcome to our wedding Q&A. This is something that I wanted to do so we could look back on all of the memories from our wedding and so that our future children could look back on them, and to answer all of you guys' questions because I've received a bunch of DMs about the wedding and just asking all about it and all the things. So I put a question box on my Instagram stories and I'm gonna read the questions from my phone, and Ryan and I are going to answer all of the burning questions. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Should we start with the drink? To celebrate, we got a little bottle of champagne. It's our first married Christmas, so we've got our tree up and our house is all cozy. 3, 2, 1. Woo! Kicking off wedding Q&A. Cheers.
1 month in.
Yeah, we are.
Just had our month anniversary.
Yeah, it's November 24th today.
5 days ago.
Yep. Our 1 month anniversary was 5 days ago. We got married October 19th, 2024 in Highlands, North Carolina. And we're gonna go through all of your questions now and reminisce and recap. Reminisce and recap. Reminiscus and recap on the entire weekend. Did marriage change your relationship at all? Does it feel any different?
I feel like it feels different, yeah.
Yeah.
It feels more final in a good way. I feel like to some people maybe like a little bit like it feels like the shutting of a door, but really it's like not like the shutting of a door. It's like final in the sense of like you sign on the dotted line and like you buy a house, like now it's yours, you know what I mean? So it's like it's final in the sense of like
it's official.
It's the culmination, yeah, it's the coming to fruition of something we both wanted for a long time, and
yeah,
it felt really right. So yeah, it has felt different in that sense, where it's like we're not renting,
yeah,
we're not leasing,
right?
We bought in.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, marriage is definitely something that we both wanted for a long time, and I would say it does feel a lot different. Like it feels amazing. Like I love marriage so far because it feels like you're just like coming home to your best friend every day and they're not going anywhere no matter what life throws at you, no matter the ups, downs. Like we have each other for life and like a partner to do everything in life with, which is the best, just the best feeling ever.
Yeah, and I think the other thing would be that even when there's like a disagreement or something like that, it doesn't, there's the fear of it ending in like loss is gone. That's
there's
removed.
no like leaving or walking
right
off.
So like it feels less fatalistic. Like everything feels like okay, like maybe this needs a little bit of time, maybe we need to talk this over, maybe we're just gonna disagree for the moment or something like that, but it doesn't feel like it ends in anything other than, you know, eventually a resolution.
Right.
Yeah,
I love that.
there's like that fear when you're just in a relationship that like, okay, could this be the final thing? And it's just, that's not even an option.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love marriage. It's just the best decision I've ever made. And anyone who tries to put any anxious thoughts into your head about the idea of commitment for the rest of your life, like do not listen to them. Marriage is incredible. It's so sacred. It's the best decision I've ever made.
And we're still rookies, but we can say that because that's...
yeah, 1 month in.
That's time-tested truth.
Right.
That's not just us.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we agree 1 month in.
Yes, exactly. Did you do a first look or wait until the aisle? Ryan and I both love tradition, and we loved the idea of waiting until I walked down the aisle for him to see me in my wedding dress. But with the order of events, the wedding weekend and the timeline, it just didn't make sense for us to not do a first look and to wait till the aisle, because then we would have to miss our entire cocktail hour after the ceremony to take pictures with each other and solo pictures for me and pictures with our family. It would have just taken a long time. It would have taken away from us enjoying our actual wedding events. So that's why we ultimately decided to do a first look.
We changed our mind when we went to my little brother John and his wife Nina's wedding.
Yeah.
Because after their ceremony, they had their pictures, and it was great, don't get me wrong, we were both part of them, so like it was special to be there for that. But I was just thinking of all the other guests who were waiting, and that took a solid 45 minutes to an hour, maybe longer than that. We were just like, we would rather immediately just go into the celebrating with everyone. And we still did pictures for a couple minutes, probably 20 minutes. But,
yeah.
It felt like it was worth it.
Do you think it was still special, like after doing the first look, seeing me walk down the aisle?
Yeah, because you can't prepare, even if I've seen her, nothing can prepare you for the magnitude of that moment anyway. Like,
yeah.
Everything's coming together towards that one moment where everyone stands up and she walks down the aisle. So that, you can't take away from that, even if you've already seen it.
It felt like a completely different moment. Like,
totally.
It was the moment.
And the first look was super special.
Yeah, it was.
I love doing that because then we got to read our vows to each other.
Yeah, it was in private.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually another question. Did you read personal vows?
Yeah, we decided to do traditional vows for the ceremony, just because, like Carlisle said, we both love the tradition of that, and it's like short and sweet.
Yeah.
And then for the intimate personal vows, we just read those to each other one-on-one. And
yeah,
I think that was the right way.
It was funny.
Us, at least.
It was funny because we had like our entire photographer and like videographer and that whole content team like wanting to film our vows, and Ryan was literally like, no, this is something we're doing between me and you, like, so we made everyone go away. Yeah, we sent them away. So we actually like didn't record us exchanging our private vows, but it really was like so special and so intimate. And I feel like if there were cameras like looking at me, and I just like, even though they weren't in front of my face, I like knew they were, you know, pointing my direction, I probably would have like felt like I had to like look some type of way or act some type of way, but I was able to just really fully like be present and be like in the moment, and I was sobbing the entire time. So
yeah, I just knew I wasn't gonna be able to let my guard down 100% if there was, you know, photographers and videographers who I didn't really know very well, standing right there. But they did get great pictures of us from afar. They
did, and they actually recorded the audio of us saying our vows, so we will be able to like hear them back.
Hidden mic.
Yeah, a little mic hidden. That was actually another question I saw. It was, did you have a full wedding video made? And the answer is yes. I already shared on my Instagram, at Carlisle Thornton on Instagram, and he's at our Frawls, shared 4 short recap reels of the wedding weekend, like right after the wedding happened. But we are going to have like a full horizontal wedding video of the entire weekend made. We have not got it back yet, but as soon as we do, I'll share it here on YouTube. So definitely check back here for our full wedding video when it comes out. What else we've got? Bridesmaid's dress details, please. All of my bridesmaid dresses were from Birdie Gray, and I partnered with them for the girls' dresses. They also gave all the girls matching robes and slippers. All the like get ready slippers were from Birdie Gray, and their wedding earrings that they wore with the bridesmaids' dresses. So Birdie Gray is just amazing, and they're such a good price point, and all the girls absolutely love their dresses. I picked out different styles for each girl. And I like picked out kind of the order of like how the girls were gonna stand and made sure they like looked good next to the person. There were no like, you know, duplicate dresses next to each other. But I ended up going with like the satin brown, like shiny bridesmaid's dress, I think is what it was called. But I loved how the brown turned out. I haven't seen like a lot of brown bridesmaid's dresses. So yeah, I loved how they turned out. What were your ceremony and reception music choices? Do you remember any of them?
Well, I just know we had Goodness of God for the walk down the aisle.
That was amazing.
And leaving, we had, what, Ain't no mountain high enough?
Ain't no mountain high enough. You have to do it when you get married on a mountaintop, right?
That's right.
It fit the vibe. We had a string trio. It was Carolina Music Planner. They played at the ceremony, and we had a harpist, a violinist, and a cello. And the grandparents and parents walked down to You Raise Me Up. And then the bridesmaids and groomsmen walked down to Gratitude by Brandon Lake. Isn't that who sings it? Yeah. And then I walked down to like Canon D intro, Goodness of God. And then we reset. And then we recessed to Ain't No Mountain High Enough. And then for the reception, our entrance song was I'm in Love with You, right, by 1975.
I'm so in love with you.
I'm in love with you.
Oh yeah, it's just I'm in love with you. Yeah. That song came out right when Carlisle and I first started dating, and I was like listening to it way too much.
He was like blasting it, and that was when I think we first like were like falling in love with each other, and it had just come out.
And it's a perfect song for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. Oh my gosh, Mike, I think my camera's about to die. And then cake cutting was How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You. I don't know what that is. And then my bouquet toss was Gimme, Gimme, Gimme. What is it called? Gimme, Gimme, Gimme? Is that the name of the song? By ABBA?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like Gimme, Gimme, Gimme Your Man After Midnight. And that was my bouquet toss. And then we did a private last dance, which was really special. So everyone went to go line up for our like send-off exit, and we did Electric Light Orchestra, Don't Walk Away.
One of my favorites.
Which I thought Ryan was so strange when he first told me about that song, but it ended up like becoming our song. So
and she actually likes it now.
I actually do love it. It's just like, it's our song, and it's fun to sing. Any surprises during wedding weekend? The morning of the wedding, my bridesmaids surprised me with a book that was really sweet, where they each like wrote me a letter like praying for me for wedding day, and had like pictures of me and each of my girls. So that was really cool. That was a fun surprise. Any surprises for you?
For me, kind of the whole weekend was a surprise. I mean,
Fair.
Carlisle and Angela, her mom, along with the planners, have been slaving over this wedding for over a year, and they basically didn't ask me to do that much, which is nice for me because I'm not a natural planner. And so I was just being surprised with all the guests along with it, and it was awesome because I was getting to see it unfold for the first time with everyone else.
That was cool.
Yeah, exchanged a couple of gifts on the wedding day. Carlisle gave me a couple really sweet little things, and also a spicy little thing. I don't want to talk about that.
What was your favorite moment during the ceremony?
That's a hard question. I don't think I have a favorite moment. The whole thing was excellent.
I loved when our families like came up to pray over us. That was really special.
My Uncle Bob, who was our officiant, near the end of the ceremony, he had my parents and Carlisle's parents come up and lay their hands on us while he said a prayer, and he cut the mic for it too, so it was kind of like a private thing, which was nice. That was nice. So that was a really special moment. I would also say for me, just like walking, like recessing down the aisle with you, like as husband and wife for the first time. Big moment. I felt like I was like on a cloud. Like, it was like the coolest feeling. I've talked about this with like so many people, but I could feel like the Holy Spirit like surrounding us, like honestly like forming like this protective shield like around our marriage. And I know that could sound silly to some people, but I was just like so overwhelmed with like this feeling of the Holy Spirit being present in that moment. And I just remember looking at you, and we were just smiling ear to ear, and we were like, could not believe it. And we were like, we're married. Like, this is amazing. It was like just the best feeling. Like, I will never forget that feeling. And then last but not least, the weather could not have been better. Yeah. And the location where the ceremony was just on top of this. I mean, it's technically a mountain. It's kind of small. It's more of a hill, but it's a mountain. Either way, it was just stunning. It was just the perfect moment. Everything came together, like. It really did. It felt like everything came together in that perfect moment. Yes. And make sure this is focused. How many outfit changes did you have? A lot. I really wanted a different look for every single event. I think I had like, gosh, I don't even know. People ask me this and I don't even remember. I think it was like 7 different looks. And I also changed hair for multiple looks. But yeah, I might have overcommitted, but I don't regret it because it was a whole vibe. It was a moment. I had 0. You had 2 looks. And 0 changes. And 0 hair changes. That's right. Did you give gifts to family or friends or each other before the wedding? Yeah, we already touched. We did give each other a few gifts the morning of the wedding just to make each other feel special and let each other know we were thinking of each other. But yeah, my parents did like a first look with me, which I thought was kind of funny, but I was just like, you know, facing one direction. They came up behind me, and that's cute. Carlisle and I had bought them these personalized, what is it even? It's not a handkerchief, but like
yeah, it was a handkerchief.
Essentially a handkerchief,
Yeah.
yeah, with like embroidered message on it.
Yeah.
And I just got that really special moment with my parents.
Yeah, and I gave my mom and my dad also one of those embroidered handkerchiefs. Okay, I had to switch cameras completely down on my Fujifilm camera because all 3 of my Canon batteries died.
And we lost the charger on the honeymoon.
Did anything not go as planned?
No. Not for me.
Okay. For me, there were a few things that didn't go as planned. The night before the wedding, I only got 2 hours of sleep, which was a huge bummer because I always like imagined on my wedding day I would like be just well rested and like look and feel my best, you know. But I don't know what it was. I think it was like a mix of a lot of things. I think I had like a lot of like adrenaline after the welcome party night. It was just such a long day. I like loaded up on caffeine, so I had like so much caffeine in my system, and I think it was like just kind of like being like anxious, excited about the wedding day, and I just laid in bed literally all night and couldn't go to sleep. But it was really sweet. I remember my sister, Mary Ellis, was sleeping with me in the bed the night before. Like all the bridesmaids and all the girls had their own house, and then the guys had their own house. So that was really awesome that we got to like spend time with our like bridal parties and our siblings and stuff. Hey, Ellie. But Mary Ellis woke up in the middle of the night and she was like, "Do you want me to pray over you?" And I was like, "Sure." And so it was really sweet because she woke up in the middle of the night and prayed for me, but I still couldn't go to sleep after that. But I slept for 2 hours, so that was definitely unexpected. And then I would say the only other thing I could think of is we had like a false tear on our wedding cake, and during the cake cutting, we were told to cut into a styrofoam layer. Oh no, there was one more thing too. So that was like kind of bad because well, Ryan, you can tell the story of the styrofoam layer.
Well, it was so hard to cut, and the wedding planner was just like, "Oh, the cake must be frozen, just try harder, harder." And I'm like, okay, this is like a challenge, I guess. So I'm like trying as hard as I possibly can, and the knife starts bending. I'm like, this is clearly, it's either like frozen solid or something's wrong here. And then we literally like took out a chunk and it was just solid styrofoam.
Yeah.
No one had told us at the bottom layer, which I think is pretty normal.
Yeah, we had like, I think like 1 or 2 like faux layers, like because that's just a ton of cake for everyone to have, and we wanted our wedding cake to be like tall and multi-tiered, but like it was just too much cake, so we did I think like 2 false layers. But we cut into styrofoam, and it wasn't like the cute cake cutting moment that I had envisioned. And then the other thing for me was we did a groom's cake, and I never got to see it. We had it at our welcome party, and no one ever like reminded me to go look at it or told me it was there, so I never got to see it. And it was like it was a surprise for Ryan, and Ryan never got to see it either, and I designed it for him.
It was like a very personal, I got to see pictures of it.
Yeah.
Well, and I saw the leftovers of it at the end.
Yeah.
But it was like really cool, personalized cake for me that had like this photorealistic map of Cape Cod and like these actual like 3D versions of some of my favorite books all like stacked up. It was really cool. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see it beforehand, but I still appreciated it.
Sweet babe. Yeah.
And also a picture of us. It was all like on edible.
And it had
edible frosting. So.
It had our plane tickets too for like where we were going for our honeymoon. But yeah, it had all of his like favorite classic books stacked up, and it was like a total surprise for him. And it was definitely not cheap, and it like took a lot of planning, and it just was such a bummer that I did not get to see it. I keep thinking of things. I also did not get to eat anything on our wedding day at all. Sure. I didn't, like, all I had to eat the entire day was like some scrambled eggs and some fruit in the morning. Thanks to my sweet sister-in-law who made me eggs and brought me food. Like literally that was the only meal I had the entire wedding day. It was so like go, 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 like just nonstop and no one like took a minute to be like, you need to eat something. So I never really got to like eat much of the food the entire wedding weekend. So I wish someone would have like really set aside food for me and like a time to eat. My rule was also like no shots, and like I wasn't feeling like super like buzzed or anything at the reception, and I was like, okay, I might just take one shot. So I took a shot of tequila, and I think that was like at the very end of the reception. I think that kind of like set me over the edge. I think I actually was like buzzed because I hadn't eaten all day and I was drinking. But I didn't feel it because I had so much adrenaline and so much caffeine. So I think taking that shot was probably a mistake because I definitely got like a little too tipsy for the send-off like exit. It was still really fun, and I don't think anyone really noticed. But the fireworks show was also a complete surprise to me, and I don't usually do well with surprises because I'm such a planner, and it overwhelmed me so much. I just felt like so like grateful, and like I almost felt like imposter syndrome. Like I was like, I can't believe this is happening. This is my wedding. Like I can't believe there's fireworks going off at my wedding. I got really emotional about it, and like pretty much cried and sobbed the entire time just because I was like so happy and overwhelmed with like how much love I felt the entire weekend, and I was so tired. It was just like a mix of a lot of emotions, but yeah, and there was nothing for you. I just went on and on.
Yeah, you did. No, it all was perfect for me.
Well, I'm glad it was, babe. Did Ryan cry when you walked down the aisle?
I did. Yeah. I'm not a big crier, and so what Carlisle had said to me like previously, like, you better cry when I walk down the aisle. Kind of jokingly, obviously.
Well, you know, every bride wants their groom to like
but for
shed
me,
a
I was
tear.
like, don't tell me that because then I definitely won't.
He thought he was gonna like get in his head about it. So
yeah, like if I'm supposed to cry, then I definitely won't. So I didn't cry during the first look, but then I did. I just couldn't help it. When the moment came, when you walked down, I did. I'll start walking down. I look over at like my brothers and my best friends, all the groomsmen also looking at me, supporting me, and like looking at audience, the crowd, our family.
Yeah.
Yeah, just walking down with your dad. It was just, you know.
Yeah, it was so sweet.
Yeah.
It was the best moment. Any takeaways now that everything is said and done?
Obviously have weather contingencies in place. That's like the biggest thing we learned from this year.
Yeah.
You have to have weather contingencies in place.
There was
you just don't know. I mean, we literally, Hurricane Helene hit 30 miles from where the venue was, and, you know,
yeah.
As much as we're grateful that it didn't, you know, those people got devastated, and we were very fortunate that our little tiny plans, our wedding, you know, their lives were upended. Our plans didn't get disrupted, but that could have changed. It could have rained. The wind could have been a lot worse. The wind was nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just have to plan for everything, or just have it decide.
I would say advice would be, everything just goes by so fast. It really does, and everyone says that, but just really being totally present. I knew that like photo and video was really important to me as a content creator, so I hired an on-site content creator throughout my entire wedding weekend. So she had my phone the whole weekend, and I just really like soaked in the moment. I think I'd heard that just so many times, to be present, like fully present. It goes by so fast. So I really just tried to take like photo like memories of every single moment. So I would also say to stay together the entire time if you can. There were so many people trying to grab for us and talk to us, and it was so easy to get separated with like his family there, mine. Yeah.
So we did, but like for the most part, we always found a way to get back to each other.
Yeah. I would say hold hands if you can. That helped us
There's
stay together.
no way to completely not allow it to go by just in a complete blur, because it's just gonna happen.
Yeah.
But try to take little moments. I mean, I think that was really important for us. We toured the reception tent.
Yeah, we got like a reception first look.
Everyone else got in there, and that was like a great moment because that was just us in there.
That was, yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely had moments.
It just goes by fast.
Yeah, you just have to remember like it's about you two, and you want to have the same memories like when all is said and done. So staying together like allows you to like experience those things together, you know, the entire weekend together, instead of having these like separate memories from the weekend.
Yeah.
Why did you choose your wedding dress? What did you love most about your wedding dress? I knew that I wanted a long sleeve dress because we were having a fall mountain wedding, and I've always just thought long sleeve dresses looked so classy and elegant, and I chose to wear my hair up because I feel like it's very timeless. Like, so when I look back at my wedding photos, I'm not like oh, that was some hair trend that was going on at the time, you know, that's now like outdated. You know, your hair being up and back out of your face, I feel like lasts or stands the test of time. So that's why I did that, and I did like a very natural makeup look, and then I wanted like a really elegant looking wedding dress. So I did the long sleeve because of the time of the year. I knew it would be a little chilly up in the mountains, all crisp. I just love the look of lace. So I knew I wanted a lace dress, and I didn't really know what I wanted the fit to be, like whether it was like mermaid, you know, like completely fitted, fit and flare. But when I tried on my wedding dress, I just knew, I was like, this is the most beautiful like I've ever felt in my life. It was the most stunning thing I'd ever put on. And I was like, this has to be the dress. Like, I've never felt more feminine and more beautiful. And it was really special because I got to go wedding dress shopping with my mom in New York. I actually filmed a vlog during that trip. So I'll put a link to that vlog here so you can check it out if you missed it. But that was a really special experience. So if you get the chance to go wedding dress shopping with your mom, wherever that is, definitely go with your family and your sisters. It just made the whole process so much more special. Favorite part of engagement season?
I mean, me and Carlisle disagreed on this point from the beginning, which is that I wanted to, I understand now in retrospect that we had to have a longer engagement period just because of the planning that goes into having a bigger wedding and a complicated wedding. An extravagant wedding. But for me, from the beginning, I just wanted a short engagement period because I was like, I want to marry you, and then let's just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, like, it was a good season in the fact that we grew closer together. Mm-hmm. We learned a lot more about each other and learned how to like be in a relationship that was just romantic and not that sexual, because we waited for the most part.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I would recommend not doing a whole year though. If you can do 6 months, do 6 months.
I answered this entire question on the last clip, but it wasn't recording. In fact, I liked having the year-long engagement period. It felt really long in the beginning. A year feels so far away. Like, this is way too long to wait to marry him. And we were trying to wait until marriage for sexual things too. So it did feel like far away in the beginning, but then like as the year went on, it went by a lot faster for me because I had so many different events and things to look forward to, like wedding dress shopping with my mom in New York, the bachelorette party during the summer. We had 2 different showers, one in Nashville, one in Birmingham. And there were a bunch of different like wedding things that I kind of filled up my calendar with. And then, like he said, all the planning took so much time because our wedding was such an involved, detailed, big wedding with multiple events. So I did end up filling up the entire year, and it was fun, like having all of those memories. And I am glad at this like point that we had a year-long engagement. It was so bad. Our cats are insane. At this point, I am glad we had a year-long engagement because we'll literally never get that season back of engagement. And it was such a sweet season preparing for marriage and the wedding. What are you laughing at?
No, I think you got it.
It was such a sweet season, and we'll never have the season of engagement ever again. So I'm glad we did maximize that, and now we're married, so that's the end goal. But it was a really awesome year leading up to the wedding. Next question, did you have a wedding day scent? I wore Chanel No. 5 for a wedding, and I think having a wedding scent is really fun because now I can wear that same scent on our anniversaries, and it'll always like remind, like me at least, I love smells. It'll remind us of like this, how I smelled on our wedding day. Did you wear a certain scent, or do you think that's kind of silly?
No, I did. I wore Blue de Chanel.
Blue de Chanel? We both wore Chanel.
Yeah, we did.
I didn't even know that.
I didn't either.
Wait, that's so special. So we should save
My favorite clone.
We should save those scents though for our anniversary so that they're special scents.
Okay.
How would you describe the vibe for the wedding design?
That's all you, babe.
I want to hear like your interpretation of the vibe though.
I mean, the term that got tossed around a lot because it was in Carlisle's like what to wear recommendations was mountain chic.
Yeah.
And she didn't make that up either. If you go to Highlands, North Carolina,
It is.
There will be realty signs that will be like mountain chic,
Yeah.
something this, something that.
So true.
So anyways, that was for the clothing, but actually kind of described everything, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, just fall colors, neutrals,
Yeah.
warm, mountainy, modern.
Yeah, that's perfect. I wanted the whole wedding to feel very Carlisle. Like when my guests arrived, like throughout the entire wedding weekend experience, I wanted them to be like, wow, this is so Carlisle, like, and just kind of see our personalities reflected through the elements of the wedding. And yeah, I would echo like what Ryan just said. It was definitely like an elevated upscale mountain chic. I wanted it to be classic and feel classic and timeless. It was very modern, Scandinavian, neutrals, and yeah, incorporated fall colors like jewel tones and earth tones.
The reception tent felt like restoration hardware in the mountains.
It felt like we were walking into like my dream house, like what I would want my house to look like, which was like really honestly what I wanted. And I heard so many guests say like, oh my gosh, I wish my house looked like this. I was like, same. Yeah. Like if we could take all the stuff from our reception tent and put it in my house, that would be ideal. Our house.
Right.
I'm still getting used to saying our house. Are you changing your last name on social media?
Well, we talked about this.
Yeah, I actually changed my current last name Thornton is becoming my middle name legally. So my name legally is going to be Carlisle Thornton Frawley. Well, yeah, it is. I went to the Social Security office. I just need to get my license changed. Still, it's a whole process.
Yeah, but now Social Security is the important one.
That's true. I'm officially Carlisle Thornton Frawley. So
right.
Cheers to that. But yeah, I did change my name on Facebook to Carlisle Thornton Frawley. But for my Instagram, I'm actually going to keep my handle at Carlisle Thornton, and my email is going to say hello@carlislethornton.com, and my website's still going to be carlislethornton.com because that is my brand and the business that I've created over the past 8 years, and I think it's just way too confusing to change my name to Carlisle Frawley because when people like think of my handle and search me, it's always been Carlisle Thornton the entire time I've done influencing. So I'm gonna keep it Carlisle Thornton on Instagram. That's gonna be my handle, but I did change my name like in my bio to Carlisle Thornton Frawley or Carlisle Frawley. Yep. Next question is, did you guys stick to a budget?
I will stay out of this one.
I think it's important to have a budget that you plan to stick to and like a maximum number, and you can try not to go over that number, but I'm gonna be honest, there are endless amounts of money you could spend on a wedding. There are just so many different things you can do and incorporate, and literally you could spend as much as you want on the wedding. So you really have to rein yourself in and pick and choose like what is most important to you. We definitely ended up going a little bit over our budget, but I do think it's important to have a budget and at least attempt to stick to the budget. But everything in the wedding industry is just so expensive. I totally underestimated the amount that everything cost, and it was a very big learning experience for me and very surprising. So I have a new respect for the entire wedding industry, everyone in the wedding industry who plans weddings. For the bride, I have a whole new level of respect for brides because you really have to do the most as a bride.
And a new level of gratitude for Angela Thornton, David Thornton.
Shout out mom and dad. You guys are amazing. And yeah,
could not have done without them.
I mean, I can't even count the number of times that we have thanked my parents for that amazing wedding weekend. I couldn't literally no amount of thank yous is enough because it really was the absolute best weekend of our entire lives, and I will never feel more special or cooler than I did that weekend and more loved, and it was a dream, and I will hold those memories just so close to me forever, and I will never forget that entire weekend. It was the best weekend of my life.
That's right.
Love you.
Love you, babe.
Cheers, cheers, cheers. Let's see. I think we're getting close to the end.
I've drank like 3 glasses of champagne.
I know, wow. Feeling kind of bubbly. Where did you guys honeymoon? How was it? You want to take this one, babe?
Yeah, so honeymoon was my one assignment.
Yeah.
I did a lot of research. You can go anywhere, obviously. We really, for a long time, thought we were going to do like Maldives or Bora Bora, and we ultimately decided against it because...
Sorry.
We ultimately decided against it because the travel... I just seem to get unlucky with travel.
Same.
And so
like traveling lately.
You know, with the normal domestic trips we had been taking last year and how many delays we had, flight cancellations we had, just sitting on the runway, all these things, I'm like, if we can't get to Colorado or to Boston, how are we going to get to Bora Bora, which is, you know, 3 connecting flights, 29 hours of travel each way. I'm like, that just sounds like a nightmare to deal with after the wedding. So we wanted to go somewhere closer. We ended up going to Antigua, which we thought was Antigua, but we learned it's Antigua. It's in the Caribbean. It's beautiful. We went to Cocoa Bay, right on the water. It's like that classic. What I wanted, and I know what Carla wanted too, is there's like 3 things we wanted. All inclusive, so that we didn't have to think about anything. We just get there and enjoy. Like no plan besides just relaxing essentially.
Catching up on sleep.
Yeah, catching up on sleep, getting some sun, drinking cocktails, eating good food, being in the water. And so that pretty much hit all the marks at Cocoa Bay.
It was so beautiful.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Our room had a plunge pool, and it was like, it had like it was like a 180
degrees of like
view of
ocean view.
It was crazy.
Super private.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Okay, if you had to do anything over, is there anything you would change?
Good question.
No. And I wouldn't do it over because it was so perfect. Like, I wouldn't want to do it over because everything, like, we just got so lucky with like the weather and how everything came together. It was so meticulously planned for so long that it ended up being just incredible, and I wouldn't want to do it over because I feel like more things would go wrong. And also I was so tired by the end of it, but like it was so worth it, and it was just the best weekend ever. So like I wouldn't do it over if I had to do, or if I had the choice, but I would like to experience it again as a guest.
Yeah,
I think that'd be fun. But I literally don't think there was anything that I would have changed. What about you?
I don't think so.
I mean, other than like getting no sleep the night before.
I can't look back on one thing and say I regret that.
Yeah. I would say just getting more sleep the night before, maybe not like having as much caffeine in my system so that I could actually sleep.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've heard from a lot of brides that they didn't sleep the night before their wedding, so I know I'm not alone.
Well, the reality is that once the wedding starts, like, you know,
the adrenaline
takes over, and like the spirit of the moment takes over.
Right.
I mean, I knew I was gonna be tired. You know, I have the tendency to stay up way too late when all my cousins and brothers are around, and we drink too much the night before and whatever. But you just know that day, the spirit of the moment's gonna like assist you.
Definitely.
But yeah, I wouldn't change anything.
I wouldn't either. It was perfect. It was incredible. Oh, I still can't believe that was our wedding.
It was absurd.
Are you doing dress preservation? If so, where? No, I'm not. I dry cleaned all of my wedding wardrobe, and I still haven't decided if I'm wanting to resell my dress or not. But for
Cost $600.
What?
Cost $600 to just dry clean the dress.
It did. It was like Ryan was like shook. He was like, "What?" Hopefully that was our final wedding expense that we have to pay for, because it was an expensive year. But I might do dress preservation. I honestly haven't made that decision yet, but if so, I'll probably do it in Nashville. Top 3 things that were worth the money. Must-haves. Glad you did it.
For me, right off the bat, we took one day in between the wedding itself and going to the honeymoon, where we were at a venue. It was a hotel, very nice little hotel, countryside in near the venue.
Yeah.
Where we got to sleep in, we got a massage, we reset. That was super nice. Not just going straight to the airport and like still exhausted from the wedding itself. Definitely recommend that.
Yeah.
So 1 buffer day.
Right. 1 buffer day. I thought the band was worth the amount we spent, because that was the entire, they really bring the party at the reception, and the band I think can make or break a reception party.
Yeah.
I chose band over DJ. I've always just like loved, I think bands really like bring this next level of like excitement and energy. And our band was amazing. We used Jordan Kahn Orchestra, Manhattan Orchestra, and we had people like, part of the band came out into the crowd and they were like super interactive, and
They were even better than I thought. I knew they were going to be good, and they were
guests are still talking about the band, so I feel like that was worth the money, and that was like a pretty big chunk of change. I would say if pictures are important to you, then getting a good photographer is definitely worth the money, and getting a videographer is worth the money, because now that all is said and done, like the one thing we have to like look back on and like, you know, that brings us back to that moment are the photos and is the videography that we had from the weekend. So that and the content creator to me was worth it, just because I do a lot of content creation. So I had a ton of iPhone videos, like 3,000 iPhone videos that were taken by her. And I feel like even like the bare minimum, like weddings can still like really look amazing if you have a talented photographer. Last question.
There you go.
Thank you. Last question. I'm currently struggling to wait, and I need a push to know God will reward me. How was wedding night after committing to waiting until marriage? You can kick this one off, babe. How was wedding night?
Wedding night was great. Felt like a reward in a lot of sense. I don't know if that's the word I want to use.
A reward.
No, it was really good. Waiting is worth it if you're, I don't know. It's a hard question to answer. It's so personal.
Yeah.
Sex is very important in a relationship, but it's also it's not seen as sacred or special anymore. Just something that two people who like each other do. We were not perfect in that regards, so we wouldn't say that we were.
Yeah.
But we tried our best to wait, and I think it was worth it to do that.
Yeah.
We wanted to be, there to be a clear delineating factor between dating/engaged into the marriage season. And that was one of the biggest possible ways to do that.
Yeah, we're not the perfect Christians, but we know what the Lord wants for us and what He says He wants for us. And we understand why it is important to wait. So we tried our best to honor that. I think the longest span that we went, it was like 5 months, which was a long time. But we were not perfect in the season of waiting. But we would get together the next day, and we would both feel so much guilt after that, after a mess up, and we would repent and we would pray about it together, and we tried our best, and ultimately, like, that's the honest truth, and grace is given for a reason, and we don't deserve that grace, but we asked for a lot of grace during our engagement season. And it's hard when you love somebody so much, and what do you think?
Yeah, you want to be physically close to them.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think we just don't have a very high view of sex anymore. It's very cheapened in our culture.
Not us, but our culture.
Yeah, our culture is it's cheapened. It just feels transactional in a lot of ways.
Something that we will instill in our future children is the importance of waiting, because now that we're married, we understand and we both wish that we could say that about each other, and now it's a clean slate and we're wiped new as husband and wife, so everything in our past is wiped away at this point. but we definitely understand why it would be worth like waiting until that person, because it's so immensely special when you do meet that person who is your future spouse, you know, and being able to say that you saved that for them is something that we really want our children to be able to say. And you know, like, this is obviously like not talked about, this topic's not talked about or touched on much, but you know, sex does create anxiety and unsureness, and it definitely clouds your judgment in dating, and that's why it should be reserved for marriage. And when we did like go through our engagement season and try to wait until marriage, I feel like Ryan and I were talking about this yesterday, but it helped us see each other and our relationship in so much more clarity, and learn things about each other and like experience, you know, each other in a way that didn't feel so like clouded, you know, by those like the intimacy.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
I feel like I don't know, I'm trying to,
So, yeah,
it's hard to explain.
Intimacy is a key ingredient in a romantic relationship, but the relationship should be able to survive without it as well.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a test of your relationship when you remove that aspect. It removes like all of the judgment clouding, and you're able to just really see and make sure that that's the person you want to be with forever, because you love them for reasons other than intimate reasons. Does that make any sense?
Good job.
Okay, thank you. That was my attempt at explaining it. But the wedding night was so special, and it was special in like such a different way, and like even more special than I imagined it would be. I'm not gonna like go into detail because it's obviously very personal, but I do remember that you looked at me on like that night, and you literally looked in my eyes and said, "You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life, like in my entire life." And I'll never forget the way that you looked at me on that night. It was like, how could I could imagine like the Lord, you know, looking at me when I like entered the gates of heaven, you know, that's like what it felt like.
Wow.
So it was really special. I don't know if I've told you that,
That's sweet.
but yeah, I'll remember that moment forever. It was so special. Okay. Anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay. Well, then we wrap up the wedding Q&A here. Thanks for tuning in, and this was fun. And we'll see you on the next video.
Oh, last thing I'll say, if you have in your budget, get a custom tux.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
It was amazing. Shout out Richards Bespoke. Thank you, Stephen. The tux was like, oh, he was looking hot. Very hot. My husband's hot, if you guys didn't already know. Love you.
Love you.
Also, we got our husband and wifey. That he's not. Bye. We love you guys.